Okay, today out in the garage here, we're going to be checking the valves on my, it's 2014 Super Tenere, that thing. I've heard this is an awful job. I haven't done it yet, and I've never done valves on a Tenere. I've done them on a couple other bikes, but not on this bike. I've heard it's awful. It takes hours. Well, I think checking the valves is not hard. Getting to everything I've heard is awful because of just access. So this might be a long video. I apologize for that, and I'll see what I'll try to cut it down as much as I can. But I'm going to be pulling that whole thing apart today to dig into it. Let's move some stuff around and get to work. Okay, so this whole thing took me like 7 hours to complete. I could probably do it faster the second time, but this first time through, it was just a long, drawn-out process. There's way too much to do, like a whole how-to video. So a lot of this is just going to be an overview, a lot of sped-up video, so you can see what's involved in tearing down and putting back together. If there's any difficult parts, I will try to stop it and give you some advice, but other than that, it's just me tearing it apart and putting them back together. I hope you enjoy. If you don't know how these little pins work, the plastic pins, when they're in there, they're flush. You just push in the center and they pop out. To reinstall them, you push them out so the pin is sticking out, you put it in, and then you clip it until it's flush, and that makes them, that secures them. The swivel gas tank on the Tenere is pretty cool, but it doesn't come up hardly at all until you pull the vent lines out. And then to get it the rest of the way up, you have to pull the fuel line and disconnect the electrical connections from the fuel pump. Okay, here I'm trying to disconnect the throttle cables, but you can't quite reach the screws with the throttle body in place. So what I wound up doing was disconnecting the throttle body first, and then I could move it over just enough to reach the screws to pull off the throttle cables. these are all for throttle body. This is for throttle body. What else do I got? These two are on the bottom of the gas tank for the fuel pump. Alright, now I'm going to have 4 for the ignition coils. I'm going to have to get all this mess out of the way. I don't know if you can see how that goes together. There's my cam chain tensioner. That's going to have to come off. Oh my god, this is a mess. Okay. You will most definitely want to pull the front motor mount off. It makes access for everything else so much easier. A lot of people seem to have problems pulling the valve cover itself out. I found when I put one hand in front and one in the back, I was able to manipulate it out of there without too much trouble. Here I'm zip tying the cam chain to the cam sprocket. I think this made my life a whole lot easier. I also marked the chain and the sprocket with a Sharpie so I could make sure I never slipped while I was disassembling and reassembling everything, just to make sure it all stayed aligned properly. Whoops, I almost forgot. The cam chain tensioner has to come off before you pull the cams off. This isn't too loud in here in the car. So I needed new exhaust shims to finish this job up. Intakes are all fine, but I need all 4 exhaust valves were too tight, so I need some smaller shims. So I called the local Yamaha dealership, and they swear they've got a whole bunch of these in stock in all different sizes. Come on in. So I get all my stuff, grab my wallet, get in the truck, drive up to the Yamaha store. They had a handful of shims, not a single one that I needed. Now I'm all for supporting your local dealerships, but if they can't carry something as simple as a valve shim that every single bike needs, how I could order their stuff online easier myself. But the problem is, you know, that takes a day or two, and my bike's in pieces in the garage, taking up space, and I've got other stuff I want to do, and I got a ride I want to go on tomorrow morning with some friends. So what, am I going to wait till Monday to order this stuff online? Thankfully, a really good friend of mine knows what I was doing today, and he called me up and he says, hey, just out of the blue, he said, hey, I saw you're working on your valves, and I went to an auction a couple weeks ago and bought a whole bunch of valve shims. It was an old motorcycle shop, went out of business. He said, so I've got a whole pile of shims. So I'm on my way to his house. He's saving the day. I hope he's going to have what I need. I'm pretty sure he will. He says he's got tons of them. But it's just a waste of time. It's not, you know, it's a half hour out to his house and a half hour back, so there's an hour wasted. Well, plus the 40 minutes or whatever it took me to go to the Yamaha dealership that didn't have anything in stock that I needed. Hopefully Bob's going to save the day, and I will be able to get this knocked out and finished up tonight, and get the bike all back together. Yeah. We'll see. Wish me luck. I guess if Bob doesn't have them, I don't know what I'm going to do. Start running around. I think I've heard Harley Davidson V-Rods use the same shims, and from what I understand, Harley dealerships usually have pretty good stock of these things on hand. So I guess worst case scenario, I'll have to go in and talk to the Harley parts counter and see if I can convince them to sell me some shims. But hopefully Bob's got what I need, and I'll get this whole thing knocked out and finished up. Okay, my friend Bob came through, and I've got my 4 new shims right here, and they go inside the buckets. Gonna get some new plugs too while I'm in there and get everything put back together. Put it in the vise and spin it as you're squeezing the vise. These edges right here are pretty sharp though, because they'll cut you. The biggest complaint by far I've read about in doing this job is reinstalling the valve cover gasket, and I'd have to agree after doing it. The way I wound up getting it in there was I put the gasket down first and then put the valve cover on top of it, but then again it's still not aligned. And the easiest way I found to do it was I grabbed a pair of hemostats and kind of aligned it slowly all the way around until I could get it to seat properly. It is a pain in the butt, but I got it done. think it's all done. Cross your fingers.